Okay,
So
this is John and John from
Yep.
BQuest. We've got Lucia with us for our private intuitive sessions. So
Hi,
thank you for
everybody.
joining us.
Yes, and
Thank
so Lucia, you saw us live last night. Is there anything particular in any of the topics we said, or is there any particular issues you've got going on at the moment that you're finding hard to get your own clear answer on?
Thank you, John and John. I really appreciate this privilege to be able to connect with both you. Yeah, I found it really fascinating. I've just joined and realised that you guys are doing this, so it's just been very first timers.
Cool.
And my question last night was about my blood pressure. I've been having blood pressure problems for the last 2 years, and you stated it was to do with the heart not being able to be fully open.
That's the energetic version. Like we have to acknowledge, and because we're not medical trained, so this is not a diagnosis. This is just for other people. This is not a diagnosis, and you should check out all your stuff that you need to with your doctor first. This is just the energetic, emotional, feeling content that we're talking about. But often, if you fix the energetic or emotional content, the physical often fixes itself. You know, even if there is a problem with vitamins or minerals or something else, you know, there's often fixing the emotional content first allows the body to balance those chemicals or anything else it needs to out. So that's just a little disclaimer.
So that's something that I like to address, because I like to go off my tablets.
Yeah.
I'm having a very minimal amount of tablets, and I know energetically this can be very clear very simply. I just would like to tap into that. And the issues around my weight, how to surrender to that aspect. So
cool.
I'm welcome.
They're both pretty easy ones for me, because they're the ones I've been working on the most on myself for the last 2 years. Because 2 or 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with a heart arrhythmia, which when I looked at the symptoms, I'd realised I'd had for about 8 years. And then I'd got a heart operation, an ablation, and it seemed to work for about a month. And then it just didn't work again. It was back to the same thing. And again, this is just me listening to my heart, and not just listening to it, speaking from my heart. And it was like the simple things with my kids, with my the closer people around me. So do you notice a time when the blood pressure gets more? Is there a regular pattern of when it gets higher, or?
Well, it's been quite stable at a higher rate, even with a 2.5 milligram tablet, bringing it down.
Yeah.
And just recently, on the last 8 months, I've changed my diet into a vegan and whole foods.
Right.
And gone right back down to a normal, still having the tablet, but it's gone down to a normal reading. But the last couple of months, when we had really high energies on the earth plane, spiked for about 4 days, really quite high for not changing anything else around me. So I was a bit sort of, confused.
So part of the problem with diets like vegan, whole food and that is that you're not actually listening to your body all the time. It becomes another rule. And it's like the body doesn't like rules, It likes guidelines. It likes you can generally be more vegan, whole food based. But if you then make that a rule, then you're not listening to your intuitive, what your body wants for itself. So sometimes what we think we want and what our body actually wants are two different things. And even sometimes, like I've done lots of different studies. Even the one diet that I used to like was the blood type diet. That seemed to be a pretty good one for most people. But then, so my one's the one where you're supposed to be more vegetarian. And that works for me most of the time. But if I'm feeling like meat, if my body's feeling like meat and I don't listen to it, like sometimes I could consume a massive amount of meat and it wouldn't bother me at all. And then other days I could just have the smallest amount and it bothers me. So it's more that listening to the body more and more. And the other thing I'm noticing, I don't quite know how much makeup you've got on, but you look a little bit paler. So in Chinese medicine, there's or in the Ayurvedic medicine, it's probably a simpler version. There's the 3 different heat types. So you've got Kapha, Vata, and Pitta. And you look like a Pitta, just from the colouring and stuff like that. Sort of looking down here where you probably haven't got makeup. So the skin colouring tells me you're quite Pitta, which is the cool one. So raw foods is going to be just from that energetic side. Raw foods, if they're not cooked, they're going to be really hard for you to digest because they're basically. And in Chinese medicine, we need a lot of heat. They call it the 3 jiaos. There's 3 different So the lower jowl, which is the lower belly, needs to be really hot, like they call it, hot like a cauldron. The middle jowl needs to be sort of nice and warm, and then the upper one, which is the lung area, needs to be very steamy and hot. So without enough heat in the system, it's a massive part of digestion. The Chinese medicine's really good with that. So if you are going, I wouldn't eat much, like raw food, things like nuts and that don't normally require cooking are fine, but foods like vegetables and stuff, heavier vegetables that require cooking, I would say you're better off steaming them and getting some heat into them for the digestive process. And also make sure you drink hot water or a herb tea when you're eating that food.
I do, I do eat all my vegetables hot because I do follow that Chinese principle.
So it doesn't have to be really hot, but just generally because you look like a pitta, so it looks like you need a lot more warmth and heat in your system. So even just hot herb tea with the food is fine. You don't even have to cook it as much. And also the other part that I'm sort of picking up a lot is the rest and digest and fight or flight system, which is the sympathetic parasympathetic nervous system. So when we sit back, we activate the parasympathetic or sympathetic, whichever one it is, which is the rest and digest. So when you lean back past vertical, that kicks that in automatically once you get back past vertical. So when you're eating, just maybe lean back while you're chewing in between every second or third mouthful, because as soon as you lean forward like this, you're activating fight or flight, which actually grabs the sphincter muscles and affects the digestion. So all of that stuff out of the way now. That's
simple.
That's all the more logical stuff, the more analytical stuff. So the heart and high blood pressure and the weight thing, they could be really interrelated. So if you're not liking, there's nothing wrong with weight. If you love your shape, and you know, some people like to be bigger, some people like to be smaller. It's got nothing to do with there's a perfect weight. But there is a perfect weight for ourselves, how we feel good and how we talk to our body when we feel that way. So, but a lot of the weight issues will go there first, or size issues. It's not even weight, it's size. Is subconsciously you're telling yourself you don't have enough space, or you don't have enough time, or you don't have enough support, or you don't have enough money. There's a don't have enough in there. You know, if you're in the service industry, you're probably giving out a lot of your, you know, love and caring and stuff like that, and maybe possibly not getting enough for yourself. So it's there. If you feel like there's an area that you don't have enough, you don't have enough time, you don't have enough personal space, you don't have enough close personal friendships or people you can talk to on a personal level like this, maybe. Does any of that relate?
It would be the two things that rang were finances and also, support. So then that's normal for people in our industry. It's very common, I should say, not normal. It's not normal at all. It's common. So the support thing, then you've just got to tell you to change the subconscious programming about that. So one of the things, so let's say I don't have enough space, which was one of the first things that I noticed it with. It's like people always come in, because I have 6 children and they're 6 adults now, but they were 6 children.
His claim to fame.
And glad they're adults now. Thank you. Love them, but glad to have my space. But it's like I don't have enough me time. You know, that was my thing. But also the subconscious hears is I don't have enough, right? And so the body hears I don't have enough because it picks the feeling up of not enough. It's not necessarily the words we say. It's the feelings or the emotions. So there's 3 parts that the subconscious picks up from. So it picks up our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions and turns them all into pictures. So you might not be saying I don't have enough, but you've got a constant feeling of I don't have enough. Or I can't speak my truth because of my real truth, because the truth that comes from my heart is too powerful and it offends people.
I kind of getting from your inner child, and tell me if this rings true or not. It sort of feels as though perhaps you've got a lot of desires, like your heart desires, but maybe you're not following through on some of those.
There has been that, yes.
Yeah. So is that paintings in your background? Are they your paintings?
Are they your paintings?
Yes. That's very good. So I'm sure that when you do that, your blood pressure goes down when you do the paintings and stuff. Yeah. And so maybe with you said you're in the service, so is that on this level, on the more spiritual side, or more on the So sometimes on any level, whether you're serving people, say in the disability world or anywhere, a lot of the service is actually you're not doing something for them. You're telling them what they need to do for themselves. And so, that sort of, it's still service. Like, so when we're little kids, right, our parents get sick, and we try and take, subconsciously, the sickness off the parents. So the parent's not sick, because who's going to look after us if they get sick? But we don't take it off, and we duplicate it. So then the parent's sick and we're sick. So we end up taking it, and we say a lot of, and therefore, if you're taking on a lot of these people's stuff unconsciously, not on purpose, then your body's also going to retain water and retain stuff for somewhere to store it in the cells, because every cell is so you can start telling yourself, I do have support, even if I can't see it. I'm sure I must have more support than I'm realizing. I'll get support from spirit. Maybe I'm getting more support. So these first words that we say, maybe, or I think I have, or maybe I've got more support. Maybe that was true of the old me, but it's not true of this me. So you've got to start just slowly changing that. So listen to your words or your feelings as you're feeling them, and just change them a little bit. Just change them. Actually, maybe I do have more support than I thought. Maybe I do have more space, and maybe I do have more time than I thought I had. Maybe I've got enough money, but I've just been thinking I don't, and I'm creating that by feeling that I don't, more than thinking I don't. I'm got a feeling that mostly your thoughts and that are pretty good. You know, what your conscious mind is like mostly is pretty clear of what you want and need. But the feelings have got this old program running, like that I don't have enough support, or I don't have enough money, or I can't charge people money. There'll be some other filters in there, as we call them. that was my big one. It's like, I can't charge people like $200 a reading. It's like, but my peers that do it the same as I do, that I've been working at this for 20 odd years, and my peers that do the same sort of stuff as I do charge like $500 to $700 a session for what I do. And their skill level and my skill level is the same. Like, they've got more influence, admittedly, so maybe they can charge more for that reason. But I was devaluing what I was doing by putting that down. And it didn't mean I have to cut people out, because when I used to do readings 20 years ago, I would channel more, and each person, like, so one person would ring up and say how much, I wouldn't put a price on there. And one person would ring up and I'd just go, oh, it's $250. And then this was in the late 90s. So it was like quite a bit of money back then. And then the next person would ring up and it'd be $50, because I was just tuning into what their value that will open them up to receive what we're saying. So it's sort of, you can do it that way if money is a bit of a situation. So, or I just have a fixed price at the full standard rate, say $200 a session, and then I say, but if you're in financial trouble, give us a call. There's other ways that we can do it. Don't cut yourself out because of the price, but don't lower your standards or your price, because a lot of the people that you might need to work with can't afford it. So that way, because that value opens it up for them. That opens them up to receive what you're saying. Otherwise, they might receive this much when they could be receiving this much. You know, so that. Yeah, I'll give it to you for $50, but understand this is normally a $250 session you're getting. And then they're like, oh, wow. And then they listen like it's a $250 session, even if they're only paying $50. So that's a lot of the financial stuff. And it is really hard, because it's hard for me to charge that sort of money. Or it used to be harder for me, changing my own subconscious. It used to be hard for me to charge that, because I knew the value was there, because if I was paying somebody else, I would have paid them like $700 for the same reading. It's like, so that I knew that the value was there, but I was just judging that people don't have enough money or blah, blah, blah. And it was like, and I was judging that most of my information comes directly from source. So how can I charge? It's not mine. But my time doesn't come from source. You know, the people that I'm working with are getting paid good money for doing stuff that's probably not even worthwhile half the time. So
how do you go with receiving opinions? Do you find that if you receive an opinion you might not agree with or you don't like, do you hold on to that? Does it affect you?
No, I'm usually very receptive. Obviously, if it's valued, I accept it, and if it's got, you know, an agenda behind it or a perception from that, I just accept it and thank you for your opinion and let it be. I'm pretty good with sort of seeing that aspect.
Yeah, maybe on an emotional level, I think John's picking up, because I end up doing a lot of the talking, because John tunes into the inner child a lot. And so
shout at me sometimes.
Sometimes the inner child shout at John, so he gets a tune while I'm chatting. And so So on a feeling level, which is the heart, and on a mental level, you're probably very clear with that. But maybe on an emotional level, which is our playful, creative side, that's the one that's not feeling heard or whatever, or not allowing to express itself to other people. But it's really the body for the weight issue, and I think that'll tie into the blood pressure issue, is not speaking from your heart. And you do, it feels like you do very well in certain areas. Maybe when you're working with one-on-ones, you do that spot on, but maybe not personally with your family or social friends or something like that. Or maybe you're not going around them because you can't. Maybe you're not having as much time around family or social friends because you feel like you're sitting there going, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. Because you're seeing the truth inside, but it's like sitting there going, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, really, that's wonderful. Oh, that sounds really good. I'm sure that's working. It's like, And so one of the things I noticed for me and for most people, I look at a lot of face shape, which tells us our emotions and that. So the corner of the lips are a little bit down, right? So I noticed that, and this is on a daily level, they change. And the corner of the lips seem to relate more to the long-term perspective. So, you got the smile going in the middle, means you're pretty happy on a day-to-day basis, but maybe your longer vision going, this doesn't really seem to be working out financially, and it's a lot of work to do all of this by myself. And if the money keeps coming in at this rate, then what am I going to do in 10 years? It's
there is a little bit of that.
And so that's the way I spot it. I spotted in myself first, and then once I spotted in myself and start working on it, then I talk to other people about it. And so I don't talk to them. I wouldn't have talked to you about that 3 months ago because mine were pretty bad. so it's like I don't give advice unless I'm trying, at least starting to follow it myself. So it's like, and that was the same with the long term, with the liver and kidney. Liver and gallbladder is our long-term hopes and dreams. That sort of puts a lot of stress, and when we can't see, like as I said, I started this work actively in 1996, and it's just been trickling along on and off. It goes well for a little bit, and then it's not enough money, and then I go back to some conventional work, and then it's like I'm unhappy with that. And so it's like this time I just said, that's it. I don't care how much it takes, how broke I appear to be getting. I'm going to go through with it, and until I break through that subconscious blockage, whatever it is about money. And I really feel like on a personal level, I've only done that in the last, say, 2 months. Just gone, okay, I can say, $250 a session and not cringe about it. It's like in my head, I'm like, I know that one of the other guys that I used to do stuff with, he charges $500 for the same readings, and probably some of my stuff is better. But maybe his delivery is better, and maybe because he has more people, maybe he talks it a bit better or gets it across a bit better. But it's not actually about what I can say, maybe, but it could be about my delivery. And so I just go, okay, work with that, but it's starting to feel comfortable about saying that and about the money, because I look around, if I go to a solicitor, they charge $1,000 an hour for what? For getting you off something that you weren't even in trouble for, really.
I'm kind of getting front right navel.
Front right navel. Yeah. So that is their male, like son or husband or dad or whatever, their opinions, their ideas on what's good or bad, that still sort of could be running in your emotions?
The program would be still my father on that,
So what he says is good or bad, maybe that's got to do with, maybe it was true what he was saying in that time and that space. So this is another way we clear it up, because it's like, that opinion might have been true and it might have been valid. Might not have been as well. Probably wasn't. But we don't care whether it was or wasn't. We just say it might have been true and it might have been valid back then, but it's not necessarily true or valid now.
Is he still around?
No, he's passed 2005.
Did he give his opinion quite a lot?
He was quite a brutal man, and there was a lot of mental depression around my father, and my mother was very, very ill. So I took on that role of caretaker.
Kind of coming through that, and you can qualify this, but it's that maybe it feels as though he gave his opinion quite often, and then you saw that, maybe you saw how people reacted to that, so you're hesitant in maybe in doing that, or speaking your heart's desire, or giving an opinion about your heart's desire, perhaps.
So this feels like past opinions are still running forward movements. So and this is why we've got to go neutral with it. You can't stop saying it was right or it was wrong. So that you start saying internally, maybe his opinion was valid. I don't know what the whole circumstances were. I don't know why he was like that. I think I do. Or maybe I'm correct, but maybe I'm not. I don't know his past lives. I don't know all of that stuff. I can't see the whole picture. And so maybe his opinion was valid. Maybe, maybe if I was in those circumstances, I would have reacted like that. I don't know. You don't say, but maybe my opinion was right. Maybe it's got nothing to do with today. Maybe that was right back then, but it's still stopping me because I'm still holding on to my opinion about his opinion.
I'm getting all these warm and fuzzy. So it feels like there's a lot of affection there for you from him, but maybe he didn't show that. Or as much.
No, he had the 50-50 split, and sometimes that 50 went up to 100.
Right.
Yeah.
Almost on a daily basis, but there was the other essence of him that was very gentle, which is a really strange way to say, because he could be quite volatile.
Yeah. And often that's where the volatile comes from, because so with me, I grew up in a bit of a harsh society, and my dad used to, not physically but verbally, he was very sort of authoritative, and but that was him trying to protect me from the world that he grew up in. He grew up in the Second World War, right? And he was, he was 13 when he went on his first ship as a cabin boy, and that ship got blown up and stuff. So he was trying to train me and protect me how to survive in the war. When I came up to the Central Coast, which is a beautiful place here, to bring my kids up, I started trying to teach them how to protect themselves in a city volatile environment. And I realized, hey, they're never going to go through that. So I used to say, I'm teaching my children how to dodge bullets, and they're never even going to see a gun, So I had to sort of tone it back to the current situation, but I was just doing that automatically, and they thought I was way too harsh, and in that circumstances it was. My opinion, I was like, no, you got to understand this, and you've got to understand. And it's like I was trying to protect them, but I was just making their life really harsh in their early years, because they weren't going to see that. They weren't around gangsters, and I'd seen shootings and stuff by the time I was 6 years old. So for me that was like a protective thing, but they couldn't understand why I was doing it, because there's none of that up here on the Central Coast. This is, that's why we moved here, to get out of that sort of environment. And so it was just that misguided one. So maybe it feels like a lot of the actual heart and the high blood pressure is actually coming from that lack of emotional expression. I'm just looking now, even as we're saying this, I'm looking at the change in the corners of the lips. So this talk is already starting to affect your long-term going, oh, maybe I can.
And you can watch this, right? You watch it when we post it live. You'll see what we're talking about, when you'll be conscious of the lips now and the corners, and you'll get to this point and you'll be like, oh my God.
So and I can already see like the left side, which is more related to yourself and females, is going higher than the right side, which is more related. So maybe now, I can see this might work for me, but what about a relationship? Are you you're not in a relationship at the moment, I take it?
No, I am.
Oh, you are. Okay. So maybe you think, maybe this will affect me, but maybe he's playing out some of those other, not the way your dad did, but maybe similar aspects in a more subtle way, like on an emotional level. He's not. And so you're thinking, how's this going to affect him? But what we've
and this is all subconscious, right? This isn't in your conscious mind.
Yeah, this is emotions that most of us can't feel because we've blocked them down. And so, but often what happens is we think, well, how am I going to? If I start changing, maybe they won't, and I'll grow out of their reach. And then, but what happens often is when we make those changes, and I'm sure you know this, when we make those changes, we don't have to say anything to them. We think we have to say it, and we just become willing to say it. So this is coming back to speaking from the heart, to say, okay, I'm going to work out how to say this thing to my partners or my children or my work colleagues or those ones that are in closer effect to me. I'm going to start saying it. I'm going to go, listen to my heart and go, I can't read it I can't read you clearly right now, heart, because I've sort of got too much stuff around it, but I'm going to listen more and more. And I'm going to start speaking to those people in my more immediate circle, in my first circle. I'm going to start speaking more and more from the heart. So a little example for you, which was one of my first big aha moments with it, was my son, my youngest of my 3 sons. He would come in, and I'd feel him. He'd walk in, and I'd go, "Oh, you know, what's up?" And he'd sit there and goes, "Oh, nothing." And I go, "No, something's up." He goes, "No, nothing." And I go, "Oh, okay then." I don't want to push him because I was too pushy with the other kids, and I didn't want to get that way. But then I was not pushy enough, like so. And then I would feel it. Then my heart arrhythmia would kick in. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, nah, frig this. I'm gonna. And I said, "No, son, something's up. You don't have to tell me. I'm not saying you have to tell me. I know something's up, but just know that I'm here to listen to." Like in older previous versions of me would have said, "No, there's something up. Tell me what it is." You know, it's like instead of because I was like backing off, and then I'm pushing too hard, then I'm backing off. So it's like, no, there's something up, but you don't have to tell me. I just wanted you to know that I know that there's something up, and I'm here to listen if or when you want to tell me. You don't have to tell me. I'm just acknowledging I can see something's up, and it's okay if you want to deal with it your way, and it's okay if you want to tell me now or you want to tell me later. I'll listen and I won't judge it. And it was like, bang, the heart arrhythmia would go straight out. And in that, my blood pressure, well, for me, it was the opposite. I had a low blood pressure because of the heart arrhythmia. My blood pressure would come back up and all my blood would start flowing very easily. And I watched this in like hour to hour with my kids, with other people around me, with him a few times. It's like, no, there's something up, but you don't have to tell me. I can feel it. I don't know exactly what it is.
Yeah, and that's a key point there, right? Because you know, a lot of us are quite intuitive, you know, and so a lot of the time it's just like it just doesn't feel right, or there's something there, knowing there that you can't quite pin or put your finger on. And so, you know, for me personally, I'd sit there and go, how do I describe this? How do I tell this person that there's something there? And it could simply just be, look, I don't know what it is. It's just my intuition's, you know, telling me or indicating something's not right. So if you want to talk about it now, that's fine. But if you don't, that's also fine. Yeah. And I'm not going to try to explain what it is because I don't quite know what it is. You know,
I can feel what it is, but I can't tell you, I can't describe that feeling exactly. I can guess what that feeling is, but I don't know it. I just know something's wrong. And they panic. They go into panic. Oh, she knows what's wrong. She's going to read me. And they run away.
Maybe go and move forward.
I don't know. Nothing's wrong. I'm not here.
And oftentimes that's enough to then, you know, lower the blood pressure. Or it's just that
just acknowledgement to be willing to say it. To be willing to, and so many times when I first started this, I would go, okay, I'm going to say it to them this time. I go in with the intention to say it, calm myself to say it like in a calmer way so it doesn't explode out because I've held it back for too long. And then I go in and I go, okay. And then before I even get to say it, they just come out and say exactly what I was going to say to them. They go, "Oh, I've realised I've been doing." I'm like, "What? I've been trying to build up the courage to say that for 6 months, you know." And then as soon as you're the willingness to say it is where it changes.
Yeah.
So does this stuff resonate?
That rings true. You know, with my partner, I'm an open book. However, with my family of past. I tend to sort of stay more reserved of those thoughts because of the intuitive side. It's been perceived.
Yeah, perhaps that's what I was getting from your child. What I got through, what felt like was holding on to others' opinions. Maybe it was you're holding on to the opinions and not giving them out. You know.
So you have a good relationship with your partner and all of that sort of stuff. So maybe one way, because we do it with ourselves, how to give ourselves advice. I say, what would I say to my kid if he was in my position right now? So one of the things you said, your partner's an open book, right? And you're seeing it. Maybe if you see it, that you're putting too much pressure on him by not saying it's them, because he's listening to all that and he's open to it, but he doesn't need to, and you're actually putting pressure on him that you don't need to.
So not quite understanding what you mean.
So speaking to him, because you're an open book with him. So you tell him about your feelings and everything else, but you don't tell the other part of your family. And so he's listening and taking that on and helping, but it's not helping because it's not going anywhere because it's just venting. It takes the steam off, right? So maybe for you to build the courage up to speak to them, say, well, it's not fair that I'm talking to him about it all the time. And he's listening and they're not. And I'm just going back over it and over it again. So because that connection's there with him. maybe if you say, hey, that's not fair on him, well, I'm not going to put all that on him because he deserves to be sort of.
Yeah, and you're saying this to yourself, right?
Yeah. This is not to you. Don't say this.
You don't say it to them.
This is to build the courage up to say it to somebody else. You go, maybe I'm putting too much pressure on him, and he's the one that doesn't deserve it, right? And I'm not putting any pressure on those people who do deserve it. And I'm using the word deserve, like, because I don't have a better word. Nobody deserves anything, but it's like, hang on, I need to say that to them, and so and give him, show the respect to him by not saying it as much. Good gratitude, and he probably doesn't care, but just for your purpose, it's like, hey, let's start giving to the people a bit more to the people who deserve it. And turn it back over towards them. So he's taking it all on, or maybe he's not even taking it on. He's there listening, but it's not really having an effect long term. It helps day to day, but it doesn't help over the long term. So maybe it's time to say, okay, heart, I'm going to listen to you. I'm scared. I'm going to build up the courage to start saying to these other people, no, I know there's something wrong. That doesn't sound right. And I can't tell you why. It's just my intuition. If you want to talk about it, then I know that there's something wrong. And they go, what's wrong? Well, there's nothing wrong. And it's like, look, I don't know what it is. It's my intuition. There's something wrong. And you don't have to tell me. I'm just letting you know that I know something's wrong. And if you want to speak about it, we can speak about it. I can't tell you what it is that's wrong because I don't know what it is. I just know there's something wrong.
Because a lot of people have trouble receiving, right? You know, like you said before, you can receive opinions and you can sort of deal with that fairly well. But lots of people can't even just hear it. You know, because they'll immediately go on the defense and they'll start to try to, you know, go, no, you're attacking me. You know, I found it could be simple as just saying, look, this is my intuition. I don't know, but you don't have to believe it. You don't have to disbelieve it, but here it is. You know, you decide, you know, this is on you. If, you know, I feel as though it's something that I want to express. It's one of my heart's desires. It feels like I need to say this to you.
So it's a difference. One of the ways I used to do it with myself, because I was really good at doing it like you do with clients and stuff, but not so much with my own kids and closer friends. And so the visualization I would do, instead of trying to force feed them, which I was really good at force feeding, I was like, okay, so offer it to them. Say, hey, I can feel that, and just say it like that, like an offering. I can feel there's something wrong. If you want to talk about it, I can help you work with it, and you can help me. So it's an offering. Instead of going, hey, here, there's something wrong, eat this, you know. It's like, instead of force feeding them, saying, you need this, you know, eat this apple, and jam the apple in their mouth.
Have an apple.
Would you like some apple? No, okay. Well, it's here when you want. You might want it later on, so it's here. It's like, so it's that difference between that gentler, because you've held it in for so long. It's really hard to do that, because it's like there's so much energetic pressure behind it, and you finally get the courage to say something. You're like, eat the apple. It's like, because it's like all that, like 6 months or 6 years of pressure behind not saying it. So we're nearly finished, but with the weight issue, or not issue, but with is there an area, like, is it upper body, middle body, lower body, or is it evenly distributed that you would like it?
Lower body, middle and lower.
Yeah, so middle and lower body, that's because just getting into the chakras here, this is all emotional content. This is all on that level. So, and it's not feeling grounded and practical enough. So that's where the body's holding onto it in the lower. So it's the emotional part that needs to express. It's like, so a little example was, you know, I've had a bit of an issue with some of my children recently, or some of my adult children recently, and they haven't talked to me for a little while. And I'm like, yeah, I'm all right with it. I'm okay with it. I understand that, you know, I said something that I probably could have delivered a lot better and a lot better timing. And I am okay with it up here and even in here to a certain degree. But down there, it's like, no, I'm upset. Okay, I'm upset, and I know I'll get over it. So at first I acknowledged and told myself, no, that does hurt me. It does hurt me that we're not talking after all these years and I've done so much. It does hurt me, but I also understand. So acknowledge that it hurts first, and it hurts your feelings or your emotions. Yes, it hurts me, and I know I'll get over it. And I know that I'm not seeing the whole picture. But you've got to acknowledge your side. You acknowledge their side probably too much, and not your own side. Yeah, well, they're probably hurting. You know, they're going through a tough time and everything else. But you know, so are you on a different level.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, they might be going through a tough time physically, but you're going through a tough time emotionally. It's only emotions. It doesn't matter.
I'll hold on.
So it's like, and again, this is just start speaking too much. Go, okay, I'm going to let you express a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Just get that inner dialogue going just a bit more gently. Okay, emotions. I'm acknowledge that, that does hurt. But, we'll get over that, I acknowledge that it does hurt my feelings. I acknowledge that it's not nice for them to do that, or it feels not nice for them to do that. And, there could be other things that I don't see. So it's like, so I acknowledge both sides. It's like, acknowledge the part that you're good at, which is seeing more of the whole picture and seeing how you don't see everything, but neither do they. But also acknowledge, hey, this does hurt my emotions. This does hurt my feelings. But I know I'll get over it. So, and that will start, I can already feel that starting to lift, even just saying that. So
it's more of a subconscious things of the past, because there's nothing that I could say ABC today.
No. It's subconscious feelings and emotions, which are really much harder to pick up. This is why I look for body signs, right? Because because the thoughts I can pick up real easy in myself. This is in myself when I'm looking. Like, I'm still frowning. I'm still like, okay. So the emotions, and frowning is a lot to do with the mouth area, is a lot to do with the navel chakra. So that's the feelings and stuff like that. So, and I look at that, I go, okay, the middle's quite good. So that means day to day I'm quite good, but the corners are down a bit. So long term, I'm not seeing, I'm not as hopeful long term. So how do I turn that around? How do I start seeing emotionally long term? And just ask that question. And don't answer it. Don't answer it. This is the big part about it. We often go, how do I turn it around? And we go, well, I need to do that. No. I didn't ask how do I turn it around? And I'll just be silent for a day or a week or a month and just watch it. How do I turn it around? Show me with signs, show me with actions, and let me see this just little bit by little bit. Otherwise we get the pendulum and we go too far one way, too far the other. And it's like, just sort of try and slow that pendulum down a little bit. Perfect.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you very much. So if test some of these things out, it's a lot to take in. Watch the video a few more times.
We'll post it up. We'll send you a link when we post it up.
Post on Facebook. And if you can comment after a while, even like several times, if you comment like in a couple of days, go, I put that into practice and I'm feeling, lighter. My body shape might be changing a little bit, the weight distribution, because most of weight distribution is just water retention. That's how the body holds onto it. It just holds onto water, and it's like that can literally change in hours or days.
You can just start talking, as John said, start talking to your emotions. Do it every day or a couple of times a day, and within 2 or 3 days, you could notice significant change.
So just a quick, when you're painting, right? And you're doing your painting and you're getting in a real good flow with it. Do you feel like the sort of bloating or that drops down a bit while you're painting?
I'm not even aware of weight.
So one of the things I used to do in the morning, because I used to do teach the kids how to do parkour, which is flipping and somersaulting off the walls and stuff like that. And I used to do that quite a lot when I was younger. And I'd get up and I'd feel bloated and the belly would be a bit bloated, and I'd be in the bathroom, have the shower and that, and then I'd go, okay, now imagine myself while I'm looking in the mirror, really, really imagine myself down the beach, running, flipping off the walls, doing some backflips and everything else. Really visualize myself that with my eyes open and feel it as I'm like, imagine it and feel it. And as I do that, because I used to really love that, the bloating would disappear in front of my eyes. Like literally it would go down to half the size while I'm strongly visualizing that. Because that's the playful area, that's the emotional area. It wants to play, it wants to dance. If you used to do dancing, if you used to like to go out dancing and stuff like that, just visualize that. Visualize up there on the dance floor with your husband, he's spinning you around, and you just visualize it.
Visualize yourself painting all day, every day.
It's like,
honestly, it sounds crazy.
It's crazy. I understand. And then just watch and go, hey, my bloating feels like the weight distribution feels a bit more even. And I can see here from the shoulders that the shoulders represent our daily practices, what we're doing every day, so our rituals and stuff like that. So you're not doing that. You're not doing some of the other stuff you need to do on a daily basis. You're doing it when you work with clients, and you're doing it on and off, but it's not the regular. Every day I need to give myself some of this emotion. So every morning and night, even if it's 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night, just give myself some emotional talk.
And if you do find yourself in a situation where you've got an opinion that's come up and it's something that you feel like you should say, imagine it as though you're about to start a painting. You don't just get a canvas and go, there's my drawing or there's my painting, right? You ease into it. You go, okay, I'll choose my colors, I'll choose my brush, I'll see how that goes, I'll stand back, and so just even when you're doing that delivery of that, just picture yourself doing that in that way.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's what we do for ourselves. Like we find an analogy that we're already good at. Like John's good at computing and that. So often when I'm trying to tell him one of these, I go, so imagine if you were doing a computer program and he goes, oh yeah, I've got that. So it's like use what you use regularly and then convert it into that sort of picture inside yourself.
Cool.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. John and John, an absolute joy to be connected with you today, and good luck with all your ventures, and I look forward to following.
If you've got any more questions, like just little tweaks on what we've said, if you don't understand it quite right, just chuck it in the comments on the video, because that'll come up on my notifications and I'll just answer in the comments if you need to tweak up on them. Okay, great.
Awesome.
Thank you, Lucia.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.